Hey guys, welcome to CourseSmart. So in this video we will be learning most commonly used type found in JavaScript. I will explain the corresponding way to describe those types in TypeScript. So without any further delay, let's get started. JavaScript commonly use three types, each has corresponding type in JavaScript. So you can see the name by using of type of operator. To specify types of arrays, we can use this syntax. We can use the array keyword and pass this type over here. So this is another way in which we can define type. TypeScript also has a special type any that you can use whenever you don't want a particular value to cause type checking errors. When a value of type any, you can access any property on it which is turned to be type any and call it like a function, assign some value. So none of the following lines is throwing compile time error because using any disable all the further type checking, so it is assuming that you may know all the environment better than TypeScript. So that's why we can't see any error over here because we define the object type as any. When you don't specify a type and TypeScript can't infer it from context, then compiler will typically default this to any. As you can see over here, I declared one variable. I didn't pass any value to it. So it's taking by default any type. This is set by compiler. So there is another terminology in TypeScript which is function annotation. So there are two types of annotation is there. First one is parameter and second is return type. So as you can see over here, this sample function has a return value of string. So this function is inferring from the return statement what will be the return type of this function, which is string, but you can explicitly pass some return type to this function. So this is called return type annotation. And similarly in function parameter, when you are passing any of the such parameter, you can pass the type of it. So this is called parameter type annotation. Anonymous functions are little bit different from function declaration. When a function appears in a place where TypeScript can determine how it's going to be called, then the parameter of that function automatically given type. Even though the parameter s, we didn't pass any type annotation over here, TypeScript used the type of the for each function along with the infer type from the array to determine the type of s. This process is called contextual typing because the context of that function occurred within inform which type it should have been. So as you can see over here, if we are using the normal function or arrow function, error is same. So it's inferring s as a string and giving this error, which is that this function is not available on s. So we can use this suggestion to get rid of this error. Apart from this primitive type, most common sort of type you will encounter is a object type. This refers to any JavaScript value with properties, which is almost all of them. To define an object type, we can simply list its property and the types. For example, let's take a function. So as you can see in this example, I created this function and I am calling this over here and I am passing this type annotation inline itself. This point having a type of object having two properties of x and y and both is type of number. Object types can also specify some of their properties are optional. to do this, we have to add a question mark after the property name. As you can see over here in my example, I created this print name function. I am passing this object and passing first as a required parameter and last which is a optional parameter. As you can see over here, when I am trying to call this function, it did not complain that I am not passing the last value because that is optional, and it is not throwing any error. So there are certain cases where we might get into some issue if we are declaring something like that. So let's say there is an example. As you can see over here, after accessing object.last, I am getting some compile time error. So it's saying object.last is possibly undefined. As you can see over here, last is optional, so its type can be undefined or string. So that's why we are getting this error. If we are not handling this kind of situation over here, then this will create issue in runtime. So to get over it, either can use optional chaining over here, or we can simply use if else statement to fix the issue. TypeScript's type system allows you to build new types out of existing ones. Now that we know how to write a few types, it's time to start combining them in an interesting way. So what is a union type? Union type is a type formed from two or more other types, representing values that may be any of those types. We refer to each of them type as a union member. So as you can see in this example, I created the print function and I am passing parameter type annotation over here. So we are using this symbol, this pipe symbol, to create the union type. So ID can be either number or string. Line number 64, where we are trying to passing any object, then it's throwing error saying that argument of type this is not assignable to parameter of type string or number. So to work with union type, so TypeScript will only allow a operation if it is valid for every member of the union. For example, if you have the union type string or number, you can't use any method that are available on the string and not on the number. As you can see over here, I am getting error saying property to uppercase does not exist on type string or number. So here as you can see, ID is type of either number or string, so we can't directly use call these two uppercase over here. So we have to narrow down our union. So here how can we fix the issue? We can use if else statement. We are checking if the type of this ID is string explicitly and then performing those tasks. We have been using object type and union type by writing them directly in type annotations. This is convenient, but if it's common to want to use the same type more than once, then refer to it by a single name. A type aliases is exactly that, a name for any type. As you can see over here, I created this type aliases called type and called point. So we need to use this keyword type and then point, and we can assign that type definition over here as an object. As you can see over here, and we can use this point type to any place in our code. So we don't have to define multiple places. You can actually use a type aliases to give a name to any type, not just an object type. For example, a type aliases can be a union type. Let's say I want to give ID type similar to our last example. I can give type ID, number or string. I can use this ID to use any place here also. An interface declaration is another way to name an object type. As you can see over this example, I created this interface point, and this is as simple as same as the type. We are using it as a similar way. So what is the difference between type aliases and interfaces? A type cannot be reopened to add new properties, but an interface is always extendable. So we can inherit from a interface, but we can't inherit a type. Sometimes you will have information about type of a value that TypeScript can't know about. For example, if you are using any document.getElementById, then TypeScript only knows that this will return some kind of a HTML element. But you might know that your page will always return a HTML canvas element with that given ID. As you can see over here, if asserting any type, then we are getting by default inferred by the compiler, which is HTML element. So if we know that we will get a HTML canvas element, then we can assert like this syntax as then the type name, which is HTML canvas element. But there are another example. I'm taking, let's say, just think about it. If we are trying to do this kind of things, then how this will behave. So as you can see, we are trying to convert a string to a number. So we are assigning a string but asserting it as a number. So this will throw error. TypeScript compiler will complain about this type of assertion. If we want to get rid of this error, either we can fix our code, or if we think that this is exactly correct, so to bypass this check, we can first convert this to a unknown or any, and then we can convert this to our desired type. As you can see over here, either we can use any or we can use unknown. So this will not complain again. In addition to all the general types, string, number, we can refer to a specific strings and number in type positions. One way to think about this is to consider how JavaScript comes with different way to declare a variable. Both var and let allow for changing what is held inside the variable, and const does not. This is reflected how TypeScript create type for literals. So let's create one example. So as you can see over this example, we have one variable which is constant string. So this type is not string. As you can see over here, I am hovering over this variable. So this is showing that type is hello. How this is working? So literal type means if we are initializing or defining any variable with const keyword, then that value itself is getting set as a type. As you can see over here in this function print text, I am defining these parameter annotations over here. So take a look at this position parameter. I am giving it some value, some union type, which is either left or right or center. So these are all string, but these are all literal string. So this position can't be set with any of the string. So this will always accept only any of these three values. As you can see over here, I am trying to call this function and passing some other value with some different spelling of the center, and it's throwing error saying that argument of type center is not assignable to this type. So this way you can provide better security in your code. So this is not only way we can give, let's say there is another type or interface. I'm creating one interface, let's say. So now what we can do, we can use this interface and we can use this union type and we can create a new union using this. We can combine this interface and this union to create a new union. JavaScript has two primitive values used for signal absent or uninitialized value, null and undefined. TypeScript has two corresponding type by the same name. How this type behave depend on whether you have strict null check option on or off. So that's it for this video, and I will see you in my next video. Stay tuned to this channel. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you are new to this channel. So thank you for watching this video.